Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about earthquakes. Do you guys know anything about earthquakes? You guys ever been in an earthquake? Just a few? Okay, so let's start off with you guys telling me what you know about earthquakes. I'm going to write them down on the board.
Earthquakes can make stuff fall down.
Right. What stuff can fall down?
Eli. They can make a little rumble.
Make a little rumble? Yeah. What's rumbling?
Like shaking.
Everything, the earth. Where the earthquake is happening. Okay, so rumbling where the earthquake is happening. And then back.
Tectonic plates push together to make an earthquake.
Awesome. Very good. Tectonic plates pushing together. That's great. Let's get a few more. Joel?
It causes tidal waves.
Very good. A tidal wave, there's another word for it, a tsunami, exactly. So it causes a tsunami. Yes, go ahead.
Sometimes splits part of the earth open.
It does, so it splits apart the earth. Two more.
It can break a lot of stuff.
You can break the what?
A lot of stuff.
It can. Very good. So it can break a lot of stuff. Okay, the last one. And then back.
It can cause volcanoes to erupt.
That's great. It does. It can cause volcanoes to erupt. Okay, so show of hands if you've been in an earthquake. Would you like to share what you felt or how it was?
Some people had a basement and some people didn't. And if you had a basement, you would always stay down there because it can slide your house off its.
Off of its foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, in a lot of places where there are, well, not a lot of places. In California, we don't really have basements. Okay. Anybody else? No? Well, I've been in one earthquake, and I didn't even realize what was happening until it was pretty much done. I just noticed things falling off the table, and I just tried to get it to stop coming off the table. And by the time we realized that we were having an earthquake, it was over with. So some of them happen really fast, and some of them last about a minute. But again, when you're in it, it probably doesn't seem for that long. It doesn't seem that long. So I have some papers, or a paper for you guys with earthquake vocabulary on it. You will see some of these words in the PowerPoint presentation that I'll be showing you. So you can go ahead and look through them. If you have any questions or if you're not sure of any of these words as we're going through this presentation, go ahead and circle them and we can go over them at the end of the presentation.
They could do partner shares.
Okay. magnitude of the earthquake. So if we're going through these three main earthquakes, we're going through three major earthquakes in history. I want you to think of what might be the magnitude of the earthquake on the Richter scale. So it's a scale from 0 to 10, and 10 being the highest. So as you're going through, think about that, and think about how these earthquakes would have impacted people during their time of these earthquakes. And then the third thing I want you to think of, as we're going through this, is how you could prepare yourselves for an earthquake. Any questions? Okay. So the first one is the great 1906 San Francisco earthquake. It happened in April 18th, 1906, and ranks as one of the most significant earthquakes of all time. The epicenter, and that's one of your words in your vocabulary, was near San Francisco, and the shaking lasted from 45 to 60 seconds. The fires broke out in the city and lasted several days. The ground moved along both sides of the San Andreas Fault. These words that I have underlined are words that are in your vocabulary. So here are things to consider. Do you think people in 1906 had cell phones? No. So how do you think they would have communicated with their friends and family? Get a couple.
They would have to meet in places that were safe.
Okay. Joel?
Scream.
What? Scream. Okay. Mateo? Letters. Do you think they would have been effective with mail back then? During the earth? I mean, it probably would have taken a while. Yeah. Okay. There's a picture of what the black and white, they only had black and white photos back then, but what the fires look like. And those are the buildings, and so somebody had brought up that the buildings fall apart, and there's one. And then the earth comes apart as well. And these are camps that they lived in because their homes weren't safe to live in. Oh, I don't know, they probably did look. But probably just a whole bunch of dirt and not much there. Okay, so the next one is the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. It was known as the quake of '89 and the World Series earthquake. It occurred during the third game of the World Series on October 17, 1989, and the epicenter of the earthquake was located near the Santa Cruz Mountains. And many people lost power. Do you guys know what two teams were playing during the World Series at the time? Mateo?
I know one.
Which one? Okay. Anybody else guess the other?
The Yankees and Reds.
One more guess. Wasn't the Yankees. Eli? No, not the Red. It was the Oakland A's and the Giants. Were you going to say that one? Yeah. Okay, so some things to think of. What would you do if you were at the game? During the earthquake. Eli?
Run on the field of things where they smack like on the outside.
You run in the field?
So they don't fall on because it will fall.
Yeah, the structure probably would have fallen. Katie?
When I shot this in Canada, I was just doing.
Okay.
Scream and run to the field.
Okay. And what, in 1906, remember we said that there weren't any cell phones back then. In 1989, what do you think would have changed? They weren't as good as they are now, but some people had cell phones back then. What? The long, yeah, those big giant ones. Okay.
They probably would have cars by then.
They did have cars back then. Speaking of cars, there's a picture of the Bay Bridge and what happened during the earthquake. The Bay Bridge doesn't look like that anymore. There's a picture of the field, and there are a lot of people on the field at the time. And that's what the building looked like back then. Okay, so then there's the 2011 earthquake off the coast of Japan. This earthquake took place in the ocean, and like Joel mentioned, a tsunami was created. So tsunamis are huge waves of water that are usually caused by earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, and this happened on March 11, 2011. So that wasn't too long ago. And things to think about. How is this earthquake different from the other two earthquakes?
It caused a wave and it was in like the middle of the ocean.
Yes, absolutely, that's it. And then how could you prepare yourself for this? How much food and water and clothing should you have? And think about everything that you've seen all these past earthquakes. How many supplies and how many days worth of supplies do you think you would need? In a major earthquake, it's not just done after the 60 seconds or 30 seconds. You have a lot of damage that needs to be repaired. So it's a lot to think about. Here's some pictures from Japan.
What happened to the split?
And there's the ocean.
That's how it started.
I'm pretty sure that's how it started. It doesn't look like out there.
No.
That's what the streets look like. Cars wouldn't have been too much help.
What does that say?
Oh, I don't know what that says.
She can't read.
Okay, so here's a list of your vocabulary. So an earthquake is what happens when two blocks of the earth slip past one another. And a fault is the surface where the two blocks of the earth slip. The hypocenter is the location below the earth's surface where the earthquake starts. And the epicenter is the location directly above the slip on the earth. The magnitude is a measured value of the earthquake size. The magnitude is the same no matter where you are. And the Richter scale, which I kind of talked about, is based on a scale of 10, measured based on the magnitude of the ground's motion. And the intensity is a measure of the shaking created by the earthquake. This value will change depending on where you're located. Does anybody have any questions about any of these words? The hypocenter?
Yeah.
So that is where the earthquake starts. So if we go back to, let's say that this is where it started in the ocean, that would be the hypocenter.
So where is it?
It's kind of like the epicenter as well.
People have searched tsunamis before.
Really?
That's my uncle told me.
That's interesting.
I think the word with this scale.
Richter scale. So that's just kind of a way to determine the magnitude of an earthquake. So magnitude is one word, and they take that and they basically have a way to measure it, and that's the Richter scale, is a way to measure the magnitude. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, one more question.
What is infinity?
Intensity? That is the measure of so that's the measure of the shaking that happens on the earth. So if you were right by where the earthquake started, it would be a lot more intense than if you were far away. So if an earthquake happened in San Francisco, just say, they're going to feel it as more intense over there than we would over here. Does that make sense? Okay. So